Hi, this is Steve Doubleday, and this was supposed to be the last video in our short series on how to get the R environment working on San Diego SuperComputer Center machines to run social networking code. But I'm going to add in one additional video here to deal with a small annoyance. So let's talk about it. Here I've logged out of Gordon. So you've done good work so far. You log out, go off and have a coffee or get a good night's sleep. You come back the next day, you log in, and actually sometime I'll do a video on how to avoid using the password, but for right now we'll just keep going this way. And then here we are on Gordon, and we say, okay, let me get into R and run my tests. I type R, it says command not found. I say, what's up with that? And maybe I vaguely remember something about modules, and I do module list, and what do you know, R is not there. So I say, okay, module load R, and then I do module list again. If I arrow up, I'll see my command. I execute again. There's R, so I can get into R. Life is good. Get into R, and I say tests, and it runs my tests. But what's this? There are errors. If I look here, and I see some dots, but I see an error here. And then down here where I should have seen dots, I see numbers, 1, 2. It says I got a couple of errors. Some tests ran. I mean, I see some dots, but some tests failed. In particular, iGraph failed. And then maybe deep in the recesses of my mind, I remember something about problems with modules and compiles. And that's what that looks like, because we go back and do our module list. Remember that in the earlier videos, we had said we couldn't use the Intel compilers. We needed to do switch Intel for new. In this case, you have to remember it's 4. There's my new compiler. I get back into R and I do my tests. And now all I see is little dots, and I don't see any error messages or numbers, and so life is much better. But that was sort of a pain. So let's figure out how not to have to do that. So on the wiki there's a section under cleaning up and next steps, section 3. You'll want to have R set up to run whenever you log on to Gordon or Trestles. So let's see how we do that. Let's go to our home directory. Our directory is always indicated by what's over here. It tells us what directory we're in right now. So we're actually in our home directory, but just for laughs, we'll go there. And then remember that in order to see kind of these hidden files, we need to do ls-al. There's something called bash rc, which is executed whenever we log on. And that's where we're going to want to put some more commands. So let's edit that baby. .bash rc. And at the end, let's see, here's our cursor. We use our arrow key to go down to the very last line. Can't go any further. Then we just type O. And that says open a line underneath the last line. And we're going to type those two module commands we just did by hand, just as if we were typing them with the keyboard. Module load R and module switch Intel. Our doggies are warning us that something is up. 4.6.1. Try to avoid the noise there. Okay, so we've typed those two lines in, and now we hit the escape key. And the escape key makes that insert go away at the bottom of the screen. And then we just type colon W for write, Q for quit. So we've made our updates to the file, and we want to write it and quit out. So we've written it. If we didn't feel all confident about that, we might look at it briefly again. So if we do more, we'll see at the very bottom it's got those two lines that we added, the two module commands. All right, so if that's really working the way we want it to, we should be able to log out and SSH back in again. And now we're back in. Now we should be able to notice a little command that ran right the very last thing that we noticed, unloading compiler module. So that seems sort of familiar. And if we list our modules, notice that R is there, no Intel is there, and new is there. So life is looking pretty good. So we should be able to type R. Son of a gun, we get right in. We should be able to type tests, our tests function, and it should run with no errors, and it does. So that's how we set ourselves up to save some keystrokes and botheration in the future. Notice that new 4.6.1, whenever you see numbers there, you always say to yourself, well, what's going to happen when it's new 4.6.2? So the folks at SDSC are constantly upgrading software, and when they do, we're going to have to change that file so that we load the right version of the new compiler. Hopefully they'll tell us someday something will stop running. It's another good reason to have the tests to always check out how we're doing, and then we'll need to call for help. So we'll just update the file and go from there. Okay, that's it for this session, and then finally we'll run a sample job in our next video.